Welcome Thursday show for week 15 here. We're going to switch things up a little bit. Normally, the past few weeks, I don't even know how many weeks, we've been doing FanDuel and DraftKings lineups for you guys, showing you our lineups, giving you examples of 50-50 in tournament plays. But we got a lot of questions this week, and so we think we're just going to switch it up a little bit and do kind of a start-sit/question and answer session. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. I'm at MN Milano. He's at Alex Hanowitz. Hit us up in the chat room if you're watching live, or hit us up anywhere else you can find us. So let's see. We had a ton of questions coming from Tuesday's show. So again, sorry we didn't get to that, but again the show ran long. We always get a lot of good talk when we got Johnny B on the show. So we didn't get a chance to get to the questions this Tuesday, so let's touch on them now. Let's first look at Jason's questions. The first guy he asks about is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Marquez Wilson, the receiver replacing Brandon Marshall, or Marcus Wheaton of the Steelers. So go ahead, Alex. Who do you like this week?
Marcus all day. I think this is a big Bryant week, which means Wheaton's kind of has his upside limited big time. He might have an okay day, but I don't see a big day coming from Wheaton. And then Marcus Wilson is basically stepping into Brandon Marshall's spot. Cutler has to throw the ball to somebody. And I think he's going to, when Alshon is in that double coverage, somebody has to get that ball other than Bennett and Forte, and I think that guy is Wilson. And like I said, I think I said this at the end of the show last night, Marcus Wilson's extremely talented. The only reason he went so low in the draft was because he had that big fight with Mike Leach back in college, and he quit the team. So he didn't really have like an adequate year in terms of teams being able to scout him, so he dropped a little bit, character concerns. But I think the Bears wound up with a gem, and this is a guy that is going to grow with this team moving forward.
Yeah, and a lot of experts out there. I know Evan Silva's all about him, and a couple other guys love this guy, love his measurables. Love the fact that he's coming in and not competing with both Marshall and Jeffrey. He's kind of replacing Marshall, so definitely keep an eye out for him there. I like him as well over Wheaton, so we're both going with Wilson this week. Jason's next question, we'll hop right into it. Larry Donnell or Delaney Walker? I'll let you talk before I go at this one.
On paper, the pick is Delaney Walker, but like I said on last night, both of these teams threw in the towel. Even if Locker starts and Delaney Walker becomes, oh my God, I should play him because Locker's playing. Do you really? I mean, like the chances of Locker making out of the first half aren't really that good. Let's be honest. I don't think he's made it through more than 3 games healthy this year. He always gets hurt. It's one of those quarterbacks. They get hurt. Somebody's getting hurt. So even if you want to believe in Delaney Walker, there's always the chance that Locker gets hurt and misses the whole game. Plus, the way Donnell's season is gone, every week back and forth. Good week, bad week. Good week, bad week. Good week, bad week. Last week, bad week. This week could be a good week. So on paper, it's definitely Delaney, but my gut is telling me right now that it's Donnell is a safer play for a big day.
And I agree with you there wholeheartedly for pretty much the same reasons, right? Donnell had 7 targets last week. I think now that teams know how heavily Eli's going to target ODB, I think Donnell has to get more involved for them to continue to succeed, especially through the air. And everything you said about Delaney, with Locker, maybe Mettenberger starting, I think I read a tweet earlier today saying that they saw good things out of Mettenberger today. They think that he made a lot of progress towards starting this weekend. So definitely keep an eye out on Sunday morning for which Titans quarterback is starting. I would personally say right now, Donnell, if Locker's in there, and let's put this in a little bit of context. If Locker's starting, I'd still only put Delaney into a tournament lineup. I don't think for exactly what you said. Don't know if he comes out of the game healthy, so I don't know if you really trust it.
That's not even the biggest concern with me. Like, obviously, it's definitely one of those things that you have to factor in, but I think the biggest concern is that both teams are going to be so bad. They're going to be
But
so
that
bad.
too. That too.
They're fighting for a draft pick right now. They're not fighting for wins. They're fighting for draft picks. So that means they're fighting each other to lose the game, which will just be extremely interesting.
Hmm. Let's see. The next question gives us back to Marcus Wilson or Robert Woods.
Same deal. I'm on board with Wilson.
On the Wilson train. Definitely has a better matchup. So
Especially,
I think
he's still 3,000 on DraftKings, right? I'm assuming.
yeah.
Yeah, like that's the best punt play there is this week. There's no question about it. You save money on the rest of your lineup, and you have a ton of upside with him.
Yeah.
Especially because, I mean, I don't think New Orleans is going to be as bad as they were last week. The Bears are terrible on defense. Like, they're going to throw the ball, and they're going to score points. Cutler is going to be forced to sling the rock, and Marcus Wilson is going to come up with something. I mean, he needs 9 points to hit value. I think he's going to get way more than 9 points. He's a guy that can get in the end zone, too. So.
I hear you. I definitely agree. So we'll move on to the next question. It's actually not a start-sit, more of an opinion. Do you think Emmanuel Sanders will be worth the money on DraftKings this week? 7,500 on DraftKings this week.
I feel like that's one of like the cheaper prices he's been at recently, right? Just because of that the terrible week and obviously the concussion.
It's definitely a dip in price, but at the end of the day, is he still worth 7,500 to you?
That's tough, just because anytime these two come together, these two teams, you don't really know what's going to happen. Last year, everybody was expecting a big week from Peyton, and he kind of they got bounced a lot of fantasy teams from the playoffs in that game when the Chargers just hit him in the mouth and ran the ball. I mean, I just don't see that happening again this year because Matthews is banged up. Their whole team is banged up. Like, I just don't see them keeping pace like they did last time. But if Denver jumps out to an early lead, they've shown over the past 2 weeks they're just going to hand the ball to C.J. Anderson. This offense isn't nearly as explosive heading into the playoffs. I think they're saving it for the playoffs when they need it, and they're going to save some of those like big-time passing plays and those passing looks, and they're just kind of tricking people into think they're a running team, and then when they get the playoffs, they're going to smack teams in the mouth.
So let's play our first name game of the night if you're down.
I love name game. I'm never opposed.
So we've got Emmanuel Sanders. We'll stick to DraftKings. Let me double check. I think the question, specifically was about DraftKings. He's 7,500 in DraftKings this week. Emmanuel Sanders, or for $100 cheaper, Josh Gordon against Cincinnati.
I think Gordon somehow is safer this week because of Manziel. I think Manziel is good. It might have been you that brought up this comment 2 weeks ago or last week when we were talking about Johnny Manziel starting. Manziel had Mike Evans in college. He made him look like a good quarterback. Josh Gordon is as good, if not better, than Mike Evans. It's going to be the same type of thing. Manziel's going to throw it up for Gordon. Gordon's going to come down with it and make him look good, and they're both going to look good. So we've seen what he can do with an elite wide receiver. We didn't get to see that in preseason. We didn't get to see that early on in the season because Hoyer was starting. So I feel like we don't really have that experience with it. But Manziel looked good throwing the ball to Gordon in that limited time that he was playing 2 weeks ago.
He's got a higher risk tolerance, that's for sure, than Hoyer. Hoyer's, even though the stats don't show it, I feel like he tried to make too many safe passes. Now, that's saying something because he was bad at it. But I think he kept trying to make too many safe passes, and Manziel won't
He was
have
doing a bad Alex Smith impersonation.
Exactly. He doesn't want to throw the ball that far down.
He threw the ball a little further than Alex Smith. Alex Smith can't make him past the line of scrimmage.
So you say Josh Gordon over Emmanuel Sanders. So what about, let's go down another $100, Gordon or Randall Cobb?
I mean, obviously, I said it last week. I thought Cobb was going to get in the end zone last week, and it kind of let me down. So that's 4 straight weeks without a touchdown. That's a bit concerning. They're going up against the Bills. But I think it's a little ridiculous for Cobb to go another game without a touchdown. Man has double-digit touchdowns. Unless you saw something watching that game that tells me that he's not healthy or something like that, there's no reason for him not to get him the ball.
Honestly, watching that game, I saw Cobb doing a lot of quick out routes, and Rodgers was looking deeper downfield. at times doubled him and made Jordy beat him, beat whoever was covering him. I think Trufant was on him most of the game. So I think Atlanta, especially in the first half, said, okay, we're going to take Cobb out of the game. And they essentially did. It just, Jordy's still there, so they weren't able to complete the duo. I think Buffalo, especially after seeing Jordy the past couple of weeks and seeing Cobb's kind of, diminish the past couple of weeks, I think they do the opposite, and I agree with you. I think Cobb gets back in the end zone this week. I think Jordy gets doubled more this week, and I think maybe they could still. I mean, I don't think either one's going to really have a blow up game because of that Buffalo pass rush, but I think Cobb gets in the end zone.
Yeah, that was going to be the point that I was going to make, and then I let you start talking, and then I remembered what the point was. Atlanta's line is terrible. Also, side note, Stanton just got rocked.
Oh boy, Logan Thomas time.
Uh-oh, I don't want to see that unless he's just going to give the ball to Kerwin Williams.
All right, so
back. Atlanta's line's terrible. They have an aging Umanura who's their best player on that line, and he didn't even really look that good. The Bills' line is great. So what I see from this Green Bay offense this week, they're going to rely more on the quick pass, those quick routes for Cobb. Jordy is obviously the much better deep threat. Randall Cobb is more the short to intermediate guy. This is a game where they're going to need Cobb to establish those kind of plays because that line is going to get in Rodgers' face, and he's going to be the one that's open on the blitz or when the line breaks down. So that, in my opinion, I think this is actually a much better week for Cobb because of that, because they're going to need to rely on his game more so to get the offense going than the deep balls to Jordy.
Who the heck is QBing right now? It's not Thomas.
Didn't they sign somebody a couple days ago? Lindsley, I think.
Anyway, let's go back to people that matter. And one last name in the name game here. Do you go Emmanuel Sanders 7,500 or drop 900 down in DraftKings, 400 down in FanDuel, and go to Mike Evans?
Mike Evans.
Yeah, big shocker.
Yeah, I'm playing him this week, so I'm a little scared. But I mean, the thing that I love about Mike Evans this week is he's going up against Kelvin, and they have been the two best rookie wide receivers in terms of stats this year. I'm not going to say that they're the two best wide receivers in this class because there are just too many good wide receivers in this class. But from a pure stat standpoint, they are the two best, and they're going to go head-to-head big time this week. They're both going to have monster games. Or at least monster target numbers, which usually equates to big games for the two of them.
We hope so. Alrighty, let's move on from that then. Not so quick name game, and let's find the next question here. Name game's never quick. Very true. Who do you, if I'm kind of interpreting a question here, if Locker's healthy, who do you trust more this week, Derek Anderson or Jake Locker?
Derek Anderson.
I think that's kind of a hands down.
Because even if Locker's starting, I don't know if he's going to be on the field the whole time. Yeah, like that's it. Locker has tons more upside. He can run the ball. He has a rocket arm. He's a little inaccurate, but I mean, so is Derek Anderson. Like they both have the same flaws in terms of passer. They both have big arms. They're both a little bit inaccurate. But Derek Anderson's just safer to me, and he's already seen it. It's so weird. The two games he's started, he's gone against the same defense. And I know the Bucs have improved on defense, but that has to add some extra value towards Derek Anderson, that he's already seen this defense once this season.
So, all I'm going to say, I touched on this yesterday, right? I think Tampa's D is definitely different from when he first saw them. You've got different personnel in there, different schemes at this point in the season as well. I think he sees a completely different defense. But that being said, he showed this, what was it, 6 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever it was that he led the Browns for a whole season. He showed that he can chuck the ball up in the air as good as anybody. Just throw it up, let Kelvin go get it. And we know Kelvin has the catch radius. We've seen it all year. So I agree with you. I like Anderson better than
As
Locke there.
far
Absolutely.
as far as backup quarterbacks go, there's no reason that he's not in the top 10 of those. So like he's one of those guys that if he's forced to start, I kind of trust him to do things, as opposed to somebody like Drew Stanton or Logan Thomas or whoever's playing quarterback for the Cardinals right now.
Yeah. The next one is, what about Jonathan Stewart this week? I know your first reaction is, ew, Jonathan Stewart, but you saw him
Ew,
run.
Jonathan Stewart.
But you saw him run for 150 yards
I
last
didn't
week
watch
against.
him at all because they didn't put that game
Okay.
on Red Zone once, other than his big touchdown.
Okay, so you heard about him.
I most certainly did. You were yelling at me all week.
Yeah, I was very angry. Anyway, it's not that it would have mattered. I lost the lineup that I would have put him in lost by so much anyway. Didn't even matter.
Good.
But so, do you even fathom playing him against Tampa?
With the price jump and the fact that D'Angelo Williams might be healthy, I was actually talking to my friend about this not even an hour ago, that he's forced to start him in a regular fantasy league for the playoffs. Like, even if D'Angelo Williams just gets a couple of those touches, that's still going to limit Stewart's upside. And we've seen when the two of them are both playing, it makes them both less effective. When one is given 20-plus carries and is given the rock the whole game, they get into a groove and they succeed. But when they're both hot and cold and you don't really know who's going in the game and they're splitting touches, it's bad for both of them. So he's so much riskier. If he gets hot, yeah, he could have a good game. But if D'Angelo's healthy and in there, he's not going to get as many touches and he's not going to be able to get on a roll.
Absolutely agree. The question is, is D'Angelo healthy? Will they play him? I mean, keep your, for those who are doing regular fantasy and you're in the playoffs and you have to rely on Stewart for whatever reason, just keep an eye out there on Sunday for whether or not D'Angelo's playing. I think even if he does play, they're ridiculous for giving him the ball. But in saying that, I said it last night, this year for fantasy football and for football in general has been like the year of everything being backwards. So, I wouldn't be surprised if out of nowhere D'Angelo starts for some reason. I think it's stupid, but that's my opinion. So let's get off of Jonathan Stewart and that whole backfield, and let's jump to the next question. What about Jordan Cameron this week?
I haven't seen him in forever. I don't even know if he remembers how to run routes at this point because of the amount of concussions that he's had. So I can't really trust him. I'd just rather roll Manziel with Gordon than try to squeeze value out of Cameron. Of course, Cameron has that massive upside, but hasn't played in a really long time. I don't trust players coming off of concussion injuries. We saw that last year with Welker. Welker struggled when he came back at the end of last year. And
This
other
year.
players with concussions, like Jordan Reed last year when he came back, he just struggled. It takes a while to get back from that, and you're not just going to succeed when you are reinserted into the lineup. Coming off that long of an injury, coming back from that long, that first week back really worries me, and it's not something that I ever want to put my faith into. Kind of like how Julius Thomas last week, Jimmy Graham earlier in the year didn't really do well when he first came back. Other guys that are out for an extended period of time, when they first come back, you're like, oh, they're back, they're cheap, that's going to be great, but they're going to be cheaper the week after because they're going to be eased into the game. Like we saw with Rashad Jennings, the first week he didn't do well, and then after that he was great for like a week or two, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely great example there. Great example. I can't even add on that. That was perfect. Let's jump then to the next question, and I'm going to kind of switch it around. Someone mentions Crowell, so who would you rather have this week then, Crowell or West?
Crowell, they say he's healthier, and West is kind of in the doghouse a little bit with Pettin. I think he only got most of those carries last week because Crowell was banged up. They like Crowell more, and I don't think that's really even a question at this point. If Crowell's healthy, he's getting the ball, as evidenced by them also giving him the ball more in the red zone. That's why Crowell got in the end zone last week, even though West out-touched him. It's just, I trust him more when he's healthy. because at any point, if West fumbles the ball,
agree.
he's sitting on the bench.
So I agree, but the past couple of weeks, we've seen them pretty much split carries dead down the middle. Crowell got into the end zone last week. A couple weeks ago, he got into the end zone twice versus West not getting into the end zone at all. But in terms of strict touches, I think they're damn close to 50-50, if not 50-50 exactly.
Right, and if you want to save money, West isn't a bad play. Obviously, if you're picking between the two and you want to save money, West is definitely a solid play. But I like Crowell more because he looks like he's more capable of finishing, and West puts the ball on the ground more, which means West could just be nicked at any point by Pettin. Pettin just be sit down, ball's going to Crowell for the rest of the game. That can happen at any point. Whereas I feel like Crowell hasn't really had those issues this year, so if it happens once, he's not going to go to the bench. But if West does it, West is done for the day. You're sitting on the bench. That's it.
So I just want to say I was just playing devil's advocate there, really, for the most part. I like Crowell as well. Just wanted to kind of throw him out there and
Kerwin, go.
play devil's advocate.
Let's go.
All right, let's see.
I'm apologizing in advance for the rest of this show. I'm going to freak out whenever he does anything.
You're not apologizing. You love it.
Yeah, you're right.
So let's play a quick name game then with Isaiah Crowell. Looking at DraftKings, he's 4,900. Also at 4,900 on DraftKings is Dan Herron. Which one do you go with?
See, this is really tough because I actually have to make this decision in my ESPN league. I don't know. Herron on DraftKings solely because he's going to catch the ball. I think Crowell has much better ground upside, but the fact that Herron gets those extra points from every extra catch just makes him so much more attractive.
And the fact that he's not in a 50-50 split, I like Herron better for that.
He is for sure the passing down back, and if Trent Richardson struggles, he's going to get more rushing attempts. Like, you know for a fact that he is going to be in third down, passing situations in the red zone. He's going to be in there, and he's also shown the ability to finish.
So how about so we chose Herron over Crowell. What about Herron versus Jeremy Hill?
I don't trust that backfield at all.
The Cincy backfield?
I don't.
Rumors are, I think Giovanni Bernard
rumors
came
are
out
that
today,
Hill
said
is the starter.
Hill's starting.
Hill is the starter. Wonderful. Guess what? Bernard's still getting his touches. Whoever's the starter, I don't think it matters at this point. They both have their roles, and they're both just way more valuable when the other one isn't playing.
For regular fantasy, if you have both and you have to choose one,
you have to play Hill.
You have to play Hill over Bernard, you think?
Bernard doesn't really look 100% healthy, and oh god damn it, there's a pick. He doesn't look 100% healthy. Please don't take it back. Okay, good. Jenkins. Bernard doesn't look fully healthy, and his touches have been limited to the point where if he doesn't break one early, they're not really going to feed him the ball like they had in the past, like he did last year. So I just feel like Hill is more guaranteed to get touches.
Okay.
And he's a better red zone threat to get in the end zone.
So
at least at this point.
Almost the same price, $100 cheaper. Hill or Chris Ivory?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, Chris Ivory. I love you, man. He's a bruising back, but until Morningwood gives him 20 carries a game, I'm not touching him. I would love
CJ, baby.
I would love to see Chris Ivory. I would love to pick Chris Ivory over Jeremy Hill. Both teams better throw in the towel, and this better be the worst game ever on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we should lose 3-0 because it would be glorious.
Oh God, no! It's the worst football game I've ever seen.
Especially because I'm probably gonna have to watch the whole thing, which is miserable.
All right, let's dive down into some more questions. We've got Greg asking, which defense should I play this week?
Here's my interesting play of the week: Philly. Prime time.
We touched on this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we touched on how their D shows up under the lights, man. It was
the lights. D shows up, and they are under the lights on Sunday night.
It's true. Their D definitely shows up.
It's to the point where I'm genuinely considering benching Romo in my 2 quarterback and my auction league.
Really? Wow.
Yep. I'm either it's Manziel or Romo my 2 quarterback, and it's Romo or Cutler in my auction league. And I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Because obviously Romo can go off and be Tony Romo, but Philadelphia Eagles defense in primetime. The only thing that scares me off of that is that the Eagles already played them in primetime 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving. I don't think they're going to be able to do the exact same thing to Tony Romo again this week.
Yeah.
But
I'd agree. But that doesn't mean they can't get a pick six or a special teams touchdown. And you get one of those and a couple of sacks, you're in double digits. It's good.
And even though Murray's been great this year, he's also shown the ability to just put the ball on the ground.
True.
So it could even not be Romo's fault, and it could be someone else's.
My sneaky play, and I know you're gonna laugh, is the Jets.
I'm okay with that. I really am. Except
for
the fact that we can't intercept balls. It hits here, and it's just.
You never know, though. I mean, it doesn't have to be an interception. It could be a fumble recovery.
Better hope for sacks. If Mo Wilkers is playing, it's a better play.
I think lots of sacks. I think that offense is going to have so much trouble moving the ball against the Jets because of that run D.
We're both going to have trouble moving the ball.
They're going to be without everybody, so I like the Jets this week as a value play, especially on defense.
If we throw in the towel, that's going to bite you in the ass. That's all I'm saying.
Greg asks, if you have to spend up, do you spend up at running back or quarterback?
This week, running back.
I'd agree 100%.
Because quarterback.
Go ahead.
There's a quarterback. I mean, if you wanna trust Eli, go for it. If Julio's playing, Matt Ryan almost becomes a must play at his price because the way he's been throwing the ball with Julio the past 2 weeks, while Julio's healthy, he looks fantastic. Plus, you have Johnny Football with sky high upside and Derek Anderson, who doesn't need much to hit value. I love the low quarterbacks this week.
I think right. Almost. I mean, right on. The matchups for the expensive quarterbacks are not that great. The matchups for the expensive running backs are delicious.
Fantastic.
So good.
Look at Levy. I mean, I wouldn't play.
Le'Veon plays the worst.
He's playing the Falcons.
Yep. He plays the worst run D. Forte's right up there playing a terrible run defense. I mean, these guys are. I think you've got to spend. I think both of us are right on
also,
there.
Jamal Charles against the Chiefs, or against the Raiders. He plays for the Chiefs. My bad.
Against the Chiefs, that's an interesting trade.
Arian Foster versus the Colts. The Colts aren't great against running backs. They're not.
I'm saying the top backs are definitely where you want to spend.
And Forsett against the Jaguars, who's surprisingly one of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's one of the top 8 priced running backs this week. So. Great matchups abound in running backs in running back land this week.
All right, let's see. We've got the next question also from Greg. Thoughts on Kerwin Williams? Well, he's playing right now, so sorry, Greg.
Thoughts on him? I want to punch him in the face right now. Those are my thoughts, but not as much as I want to punch Trey Mason. So.
Or why aren't they giving him the ball? Why are they keep dropping back?
Because they're idiots and. They're doing idiot things because they're idiots.
All right. Good answer.
Well, all right. You obviously didn't.
I don't want an answer. Forget it. We're talking about a terrible game. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm just so upset that you didn't get that reference. If anybody gets that reference, I will be so proud of them.
No, I didn't get it. But we'll move on. You can talk to me about it afterwards. What are your thoughts on Mark Sanchez? He also asks about ODB. I think we kind of touched on ODB. ODB. Freaking awesome, so we're not really going to touch on him. What do you think about Sanchez this week?
Primetime defense keeps him in it. He's going to have a pretty decent day. I mean, I think he's definitely going to be able to rebound from a game against the Seattle defense because other than that, he is pretty much, since becoming the starter, has exceeded 20 points every week except for the week against Tennessee, and that was because he didn't need to throw the ball because they blew them out so badly. So I like it. I mean, 20 points. You're fine.
Yeah, I mean, he did pretty well against them last time. I mean, he's the weird thing with him is he's been getting the yards, but not the touchdowns, right? So he got, I think, several at least 2 weeks in a row, he went for 300 plus yards, and I know against the Packers he went for 300 plus yards, but only got you those 2 touchdowns, which only isn't bad, but
Right.
with his type of yard totals and the way that they're throwing the ball, the amount of times you'd expect him to have more, but for his price, I mean, you're still getting great value, and you're getting bonuses when he hits 300, 350. That adds up as well, not just the.
But he's gonna throw an interception. I mean, I feel like that's a given with him.
That's true. Yeah, more off. I mean, I would agree with you there. He's definitely an.
The only team that he didn't throw an interception. I think that game against Dallas was the only game he didn't throw an interception. Nope, Carolina.
Okay.
Carolina doesn't count because Carolina just looked them as abysmal.
We'll ignore that game.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
So let's go to Greg. Also asks, do you trust Julius Thomas this week? I do, if he's healthy. I think he practiced today. I don't know if he practiced in full.
Today. I don't care. He's on the field and he's practicing. He didn't practice at all last week, and it was more of a decoy thing. But the fact that he was able to suit up and play if needed last week, I think shows a lot that he's probably ready to go this week.
Yeah, I think he's going to be ready to go. And we touched on this yesterday. The Chargers, we saw what Gronk did against them. They haven't faced a lot of good tight ends this year, so Julius has, I think, every chance to have a great game this Sunday.
I need Demaryius to go off though.
Let's see.
I want it to be the Thomas day in San Diego. Just both of them just light it up.
We'll see. We will see. Let's look at. Greg also asks, what are your thoughts on a Big Ben and Antonio Brown handcuff? I don't see how you don't love it.
Yeah, of course not. Why would you not love that?
Exactly.
I think if you want to save money and do the same thing, you can just do Big Ben and Bryant, because there's a lot of money. Like we talked about this yesterday. I feel like Brown is
a lot of upside.
Brown is more similar to Cobb, and Bryant is more similar to Nelson in terms of how they are used in the offense. Not from a talent perspective. This is purely just from a usage standpoint. They were beating them deep all day because Atlanta can't. They don't get pressure, so there's going to be a lot of options. There's going to be a lot of chances Big Ben can take to throw the ball to Bryant deep for way cheap, for probably half the price, basically.
Just about, yeah. Okay, let's look at
Tournament ballsy lineup, you can go all three. Just saying.
What's that?
A ballsy tournament lineup, you can play all three.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. Greg says, do you know, I can't believe I'm asking this, but do you like any of the Jets' offensive players?
I know, I saw that yesterday. I laughed.
I think we've been talking about this in passing. I like CJ this week. I don't know if you like anybody else.
Maybe Decker. Maybe.
I could see that.
Only if Percy Harvin doesn't play. If Percy Harvin doesn't play, I actually kind of like Decker this week. Because he's going to eat up targets.
Okay.
And if Curly's at 3,000, if Curly's at 3,000 and Harvin doesn't play, he's not bad either. But I wouldn't touch that.
Yeah. Let's see. We touched on Garcon a little bit yesterday. I like him, especially if Deshaun's out. I like Garcon. We touched on Murray as a beast. We all like him. Jason asks, Emmanuel Sanders or Alshon Jeffrey? I'll let you go first.
I don't know. I just feel like this Broncos running game is really messing with the Broncos passing game right now. And the fact that Brandon Marshall is out, yes, Marquise Wilson is going to take some targets, but in most situations, Cutler is going to try to force the ball to Alshon, and that equals big-time fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
I like, let's see, I like Alshon a lot, especially, like you said, Marshall's out. Or he's going to force the ball over to Alshon. It's just going to happen. That's the way Cutler plays. He's going to get him the ball. He's going to get open. He's going to have a hell of a day. I like him more. If I look him up real quick, I'm not sure the price comparison. Alshon is $8,400 on FanDuel, $82 on DraftKings. So really, you're spending up quite a bit for him. He is $500. Actually, Alshon is $200 cheaper than Emmanuel on FanDuel and $700 more expensive on DraftKings. So interesting.
I just feel like Alshon's safer this week because we don't know what's going on with Denver's passing game. Because they could just do what they did last week again and just run the clock out against the Chargers.
Yep. Jason asks, I'm switching over to the chat room now. Jason asks, Mike Evans over Emmanuel Sanders. I guess he's just confirming what we said earlier. Let's see. He says, an attorney, would you go with Crowell and West or Crowell and CJ? I'd say Crowell and CJ.
I don't trust the Jets, so I would have to go Crowell and West because I know they're going to run the ball. Whereas CJ could touch the ball twice and get -7 yards, and I would just punch him in the face. So,
dude, so Dale asks, what do you guys think of Eric Decker stacked with Geno Smith?
Oh, stop it! You can play Decker. Don't even touch Smith. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
So Adam responds, is that a real question? Thank you guys in the chat room.
If you want to give DraftKings or FanDuel your money, go ahead and play.
Oh God!
If you want money in your pocket, don't play that stack.
Dale, we are not making fun of you when we say that, but we're
more making fun of me, honestly. And in all honesty, it's probably the most making fun of me at this point.
We've seen how bad Geno Smith is. I mean, Alex himself touched on Eric Decker, how he likes him, especially if Percy doesn't play. But throwing Geno in there is man. You just can't do that to yourself. You just can't.
I wish I could. I was on his bandwagon so far early, and he's just proven that he just can't get it done.
Yeah.
And 80% of his fantasy points will come in the first quarter, and then after that, I'll be like, oh, I forgot how to do that again. My bad. Like, what are you doing, Geno?
A couple of these guys are saying...
Robot.
Oh, no.
Robot. Yeah.
It's better now?
Yep.
All right. What about a Josh McCown and Mike Evans stack?
I dig it.
And I know you're a fan of
the Anderson Kelvin stack, but I think Evans has the better day than Kelvin. Exactly. Yeah.
This is a great question.
I love that question.
Coming up, he's got one here. Le'Veon or Forte? Ooh, I love that question.
I actually like Forte more this week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because without Marshall, Cutler is forced to lean on Forte a little bit more.
Yep.
And it's just a little bit extra money in your pocket. And there are weeks where Bell doesn't catch the ball. Forte every week will catch the ball.
I mean, we saw Forte with a game. I think we saw Bell too, but Forte had a game where he caught, 12 for $120.
Yeah.
Running backs don't catch that.
Well, he's had 12 for 105, 10 for 77. I think he's only had 1 week under 5 catches this year. Yeah, he's had 1 week under 5 catches, and it was 3 against the Packers.
Unbelievable.
Like that's 3 points. Free.
Take those points when
because
you can.
He's also going to run the ball. He's going to get his attempts. I think other than Detroit, he's had at least 12 or 13 carries per game, as high as I think 26. And he gets you like an extra 50 yards with catches in the air. So you're looking at free 70 yards on the ground, free 50 yards through the air. That's 12 points already. Plus a free 5 catches. That's 17 points already. Plus whatever else he does.
All right, let's see. The next question comes in. What about a Sanchez-Macklin stack?
Yeah, go for it. We like Sanchez.
I think we also touched on Macklin.
I think you could probably save money and go Jordan Matthews because he's shown that he really trusts Matthews a little bit more, but obviously Macklin has much more upside.
Macklin's done pretty well the past couple weeks too. So
Right. But his
Matthews may have
prices
gotten in the end
dropped.
zone, but
His prices dropped. So obviously, yeah, if you want to go with the upside,
yeah.
I think
Yep.
Matthews is one of those guys that is just good for 10 to 20 points.
I think Macklin's ceiling is higher. Yeah.
Much higher.
What about Greg Olson? Do you like Greg Olson versus Kelvin? Who would you pick?
I would rather Kelvin, personally, because I think he's really
I agree.
coming to his. But I mean, Olsen's not a. I mean, I don't like spending up at tight end unless it's one of those top three guys where it's Gronk, Graham, or Julius.
Yeah.
If you had to, just because Olsen's upside is really limited, whereas Kelvin's ceiling is, I don't know where it is. I definitely can't reach it. Whereas Olsen's, I can just be like, hey, that's your ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yep. Let's see.
Yeah, it's right here. It's right here. Where Kelvin. It's like, can't reach it. I can't reach it.
But Kelvin can.
But Kelvin can.
All right, let's see. Next question. Ooh, another good one. Julio Jones or Antonio Brown?
Julio!
Of course, but
because they can't run the ball. Done.
Good point. But Julio injured. Keep an eye on that.
Obviously,
Hasn't practiced yet, so you can throw him in your lineups, but please keep an eye on whether or not he plays.
He better play. I might cry on air if he doesn't play next week.
Adam asks, do you want Logan Thomas or this Lindley guy?
I'm not even able to watch right now. They both suck. Who cares? They are so bad.
That's very true.
Stanton was bad enough for this team. What else can go wrong for this team?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
I really like this team. I put a lot of faith into this team. I loved Ellington this year. I love Palmer. I love Floyd. I've dropped Floyd for most of my teams. Palmer got hurt, and now Ellington's out for the year. So, I hate this team. I hate this team. I don't hate this team, but it's just been such an unfortunate year for them.
Except for their defense. Their defense has basically carried them to where they are today.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable. All right. That is it for us. I'm out of questions. If we missed any, which I don't think we did, I tried getting to all of them, but if we did miss any, please reach out to us on Twitter.
I have one game we could play, just if you want to.
Sure, let's go real quick.
I don't think it's really a quick game, though. It's who's our best play per position per the week, price regardless.
That's going to take a while, because if each of us gives one, it will not be quick.
We could try it.
Yeah.
We already did running back because we picked the top two. I say Forte, you say Bell. So we're done with running back.
Yeah.
We can skip tight end because I hate tight ends.
Tight end this week is ugly, yeah.
So let's play quarterback, wide receiver, and we're done.
Okay. Let's time it, though, because Grandpa's already late for bed.
Okay, deal.
So let's time it, and I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and give me your best quarterback, and then I'll go.
If Julio plays, Matt Ryan. Done. If Julio does not play, I am torn between Breeze and Cutler. Whoever's team doesn't jump out at first, the other will have to throw the ball all day, and they will score touchdowns.
Okay.
Because both defenses can't stop a nosebleed.
So we've got a couple options there. I like it. I am going. Let me time myself. Sorry. I'm going to say, in terms of pure fantasy scoring, you're going to laugh at me, but I think Manziel can be
I like it. Why would I
top
laugh
five.
at that?
I think he can be top five this week. I think with his legs, especially against that defense, he can get you 60 to 70 yards rushing, maybe even a touchdown rushing. I like him.
Josh Gordon points.
At that price point, I think he's going to give you the best value this week. Exactly what we said about Gordon yesterday and today. Same thing still applies.
Kerwin Williams.
I like Manziel probably
Wait,
as
that
the
was
best.
that time? Oh, man, I'm Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but Stephon just did that, and I thought it was Kerwin, and I got really excited, and now
You
it's sad.
can put yourself on mute, you know.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think about this.
Dick.
It just happened. It just happened. I'm not like, oh, they're running the ball. I should
No,
mute.
that's fine. You're just a complete jerk. That's fine.
That's fine.
All right. Let's move to receiver then. So Manziel's probably my best value pick. My top pick in terms of who's actually going to have the best week regardless of price. I agree with you 100%. I was going to say Cutler because I think he's just going to have to keep passing, and I think with Breeze, the only thing that's going to hurt him is Ingram can have another decent day out there this week. So let's go to receiver then. Go.
If healthy, Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. Oh my God.
Julio Jones. That's shocking. I know. Everybody's so confused.
Pick someone other than Julio. If Julio's not healthy.
Right. If Julio's not healthy, I am torn between Josh Gordon with Manziel and Cobb because I think Cobb gets in the end zone twice this week to make up for the last 4.
God, that would be lovely.
It would be so lovely because it would save my ass if Julio doesn't play. I actually have Julio and Cobb on all 3 of my playoff teams.
Wow. Well, that's how you got there. Nice job.
If they just got to get me to the championship so I make all my money back. That's it.
So, at wide receiver, I think I like 2 people that have really big weeks this week. One of them, Odell Beckham.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
That Washington defense is pretty terrible. And the second guy, Alshon, for everything we just said before, he's got and I'm going to add a third guy, but Alshon, because he's got no Brandon Marshall opposite him, they're going to have to move the ball. They're going to have to keep up with New Orleans. The third guy, T.Y. Hilton, and that's his history against Houston is unreal.
I will say this, though, with T.Y. If Wayne is out, Moncrief's cutting into Hilton. If Wayne is playing, Hilton's going to go off.
I could see that, but even with Moncrief cutting in, Hilton could still have a big day.
So the issue, though, is that
I'm not scared that Moncrief's going to take enough away from Hilton to make him a bad play.
My only concern, though, there is that Moncrief, unlike Wayne, can get those big-time yardage scores, those big plays, and that's going to take away a lot of yardage from Hilton. It's not necessarily taking away targets or looks. That's not going to happen. That's not what I mean by this. I just mean that if Moncrief breaks one of those 80-yarders again, that's going to cut into a lot of T.Y. Hilton's yardage output, even though he could still, whatever touchdown reception type numbers he could put up. In terms of a yardage standpoint, Luck won't need to throw the ball as much deep to Hilton if Moncrief can do that also.
Yeah.
Whereas Wayne, if Wayne's starting, you know where he's going. He's going short to intermediate, and Hilton's going to get everything else.
I get it, but I still think
I understand.
I still think both can have good games, and I think even though you're absolutely right, Moncrief can take an 80-yarder to the house and completely wipe out a whole drive for Hilton, but Hilton can do the same thing. So I love him this week against Houston. We've got 2 more questions that I'm really quick going to touch on, and then that's it. I'm done. Jesse asks, can Latavius Murray get over 100 yards again this weekend? I think we touched on him yesterday. Absolutely.
If you give him 20 touches, he's going over 100 yards.
Right. If he touches the ball the same amount that he did against San Francisco, he'll get you that 100 yards.
Yep.
And Jason says, pick a tight end you think will have 2 TDs this weekend.
The only one that might, there's 2 that, there's obviously the 3 that might. The 3 that I just mentioned, Graham, Gronk, and Julius, are guys that any given week can have 2 touchdowns.
Sure.
I don't know who else there would be at this point. If the Chiefs are smart, Kelsey would have 2 touchdowns. Because I haven't mentioned Kelsey all day, so I had to throw that in there.
There you go.
But I think it probably, Graham is the most likely, I think, this week.
I can see that, but I'm so hesitant to agree with you because of how much he kicked me in the balls the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Kurt has been yelling at us, don't play Graham, he looks hurt. I don't care. If he gets the same amount of targets as he did last week, sorry, Kurt, I love you. If he gets the same amount of targets that he did last week, he's not going to drop 3 balls. He's going to get throws in the end zone.
Yeah.
he's still Jimmy Graham, and I'm not 100% Jimmy Graham
He
is still
is.
better than almost every tight end in the league. And I
But
just
if I had to go someone who's not top 3, I'd probably say Antonio Gates. I think
okay.
he did it against Denver early this year. He may not be a candidate for multiple touchdowns, but I think he can definitely get at least one against Denver.
My two dark horses, Dwayne Allen and Larry Donnell. For that,
I won't argue. I won't argue. I
Donnell's
like it.
shown that he's been able to do that this year, and Dwayne Allen always catches the ball in the end zone.
Yep, yep. Some people are talking about Martellus Bennett. I like him too.
I don't see
I
it
won't,
this week. I feel like
won't hate on that, but
they're gonna key on him a little bit more than we're used to.
yeah, I mean, without Marshall there again, they're not just going to have to key on Alshon, but they're going to have to key on Bennett too. So it's going to be, I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen the type of play out of Bennett like I have out of Alshon in terms of that athleticism and making those crazy catches and stuff like that. Like, I feel like Cutler's going to have more confidence to throw it up to Alshon, let him go make a play, than he does to Bennett. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant on Bennett. But here we go. That is it.
Oh
Done.
man, I have
More
to watch
questions?
the end of this terrible game.
I will not. Grandpa's going to bed over here. So thank you guys very much again for participating. Thank you for all your questions. This was great. We'll either keep this format or switch it up maybe to a game-by-game start and sit next week. Give us some feedback.
Let us know.
Hit us up on Twitter. What do you guys want us to do? Hit us up in the comments. At MN Milano, at Alex Hanowitz. Read Alex's stuff on Fantasy Knuckleheads.
Oh, I gotta write my
Subscribe.
article.
Follow us everywhere. And hit us up. Let's interact. Let's talk and let's win some money. Thank you guys again, and we'll catch you next week. Good luck.